Railfanning hotspots. They are everywhere in America, and there's only one city that holds the most. And it's none other than Chicago, Illinois. No, like seriously, if you go to any other city in America, there's not going to be a lot of railfan hotspots, and yet Chicago has 12 of them. Starting off with what even is a railfanning hotspot? It's basically a location with railroad tracks that has a lot of trains going by each day. And railfanning hotspots are usually popular in terms of railfanners going there. But this is just my opinion on what a railfanning hotspot is. So let's dive into all the railfanning hotspots in the Chicago area. Number 1, Joliet. Joliet is a good railfanning spot because you get the variety of BNSF trains, Union Pacific, Amtrak, Metra, and CN trains. And if you go there yourself, I'd recommend railfanning on the Amtrak station platform. I will say, a downside of railfanning at Joliet is that the trains are really close, so you won't be able to get very good pictures. Next up, Homewood. If you're looking for someone to railfan on the Metra Electric District, Homewood is the place to go. It isn't perfect though, because just like Joliet, if you're railfanning on the Amtrak platform, the trains are still really close. Like, bro, what is this? But still, out of the other Metra Electric stations, I think Homewood is the best. Next up, Dolton. Dalton. How do you say that? The trains at Dolton are pretty good. You do get a lot of variety, which I like. You get the Indiana Harbor Belt, you get Norfolk Southern trains, CSX trains, Union Pacific trains, and even BNSF trains. I will say you do have to wait a while for all the trains to get there, but in the end, it is worth the wait. Next up, Blue Island. Basically the same as Dolton. You wait a while for your trains, and in the end, it's all worth it. Well, I hope it is. I hope I didn't just go to Blue Island to catch Big Boy for nothing. But jokes aside, I'd say Blue Island has more action than Dolton. There's the Iowa Interstate and the Metra going on the bridge. So yeah, the action at Blue Island is pretty good, and if you haven't gone there already, you probably should. Next up, the Metra station at Blue Island at Vermont Street. A horn zone on the Rock Island line? Oh yeah, I'm all in for that. I'm pretty sure if you go to the Metra station at Blue Island, you'll get more Iowa Interstate action than any other Metra station on the Rock Island district. Pretty good Metra station if you ask me. Next up, LaGrange Road. I mean, come on. You can't expect me to make a railfanning hotspot video and not include the BNSF Racetrack. And you might also be thinking, why is Downers Grove not a railfanning hotspot, or Clarendon Hills, or Naperville, or Belmont, or Berwyn, or Hinsdale, or Westmont, or Highlands? Well, let me just say that the BNSF Racetrack itself is a railfanning hotspot. And I gotta say that the BNSF Racetrack is amazing. You got a ton of BNSF trains every day, you got the Amtraks, and you got so many Metras that you probably can't even count them. Next up, the Chicago Roosevelt Road Overlook. Overlooking the Chicago Amtrak yard and Metra BNSF yard, the passenger train action is endless. Even though there is really good passenger train action there, I would not recommend to railfan there. Mainly because it's a very sketchy area. And up next, Ogilvie Transportation Center. I could go on and on about how awesome this place is, because even though there isn't much variety, there's still a bunch of Metra trains there. Like, look at that, that's crazy. Anyway, Ogilvie Transportation Center consists of 3 Metra lines, the Union Pacific North, the Union Pacific Northwest, and the Union Pacific West lines. So you can instantly tell that this place is full of a bunch of awesome train action. And then we got Racine Avenue in West Loop, with a bunch of Amtrak and Metra action. This location has like 2 trains every 5 minutes, which is actually pretty good. And it contains the Milwaukee District North line, the Milwaukee District West line, the NCS line, and Amtrak routes such as the Empire Builder, the Hiawatha, and the Borealis. I didn't put in Canal Street because even though it's the same lines, you can't really see what trains are coming because there's a giant curve. But still, Racine Avenue is a great place to railfan, and if you haven't gone there, you probably should. Next, Elmhurst. I'm not gonna lie, Elmhurst is very underrated. And to be honest, if I wanted to railfan the UP West, I would probably go somewhere other than Elmhurst because the freight action there is pretty slow. But I still do like it. I mean, you get what you get, and that's all that matters. Elmhurst has Union Pacific, Norfolk Southern, and Metra trains running by. Yeah, it's fine, but I do feel like it defines the Union Pacific West line for some reason. Like, when people think of the UP West, they think of Elmhurst, which is fine because I do that too. Next up, Franklin Park. Okay, you might think I'm biased for including Franklin Park because of the railroad days and the 2816 event, and you're right. Because it's genuinely a good place to railfan. Anyway, the trains that go through Franklin Park are Metra and Canadian Pacific trains. I mean, if you're gonna railfan on the Milwaukee District West, you have to pick Franklin Park. I mean, it's the best place to go. You got a bunch of freight trains, even on the weekdays, which is always a plus. And you've also got the railroad days every year, and that's an awesome place to go. I'd totally recommend railfanning there. Before we go to the final railfanning hotspot, here's some honorable mentions. And with that, the last railfanning hotspot is Barrington. I mean, if you're looking for somewhere to railfan on the Union Pacific Northwest line, go with Barrington. It's a really popular area, and you also get the CN trains at the Junction. And I gotta say, Barrington is highly underrated. And again, if you haven't gone there already, you definitely should. And that's it. We finished the video. If you like this video, please hit the like button down below and subscribe if you haven't already.